Husky has two nicknames. Full name Siberian Malamute. This is a primitive and ancient dog breed. It's a story. Let's start with the name Husky. The word husky comes from the Indian language husky. Original meaning refers to sled dogs owned by the indigenous people of the Arctic. It is not the name of a specific species. In the Neolithic age about 10,000 years ago, a group of Central Asian hunters followed the prey all the way north. They migrated to the northernmost tip of the Eurasian continent, Siberia's cold Arctic coast. During the long survival process, the dog that follows the hunter, it also interbred with wolves in the Arctic. Developed into a dog breed unique to the north, these people also developed into several ethnic groups, and that includes the Chukchi. They hunted seals and caribou, and battling bad weather. Chukchi. They pull sledges with dogs that look like wolves. Hunt. Herding reindeer, even as a heating partner. This is a sturdy, compact dog that is very hardy. It has become an important partner and property of Chu River. They were originally known as the Siberian Chukchi. This is the ancestor of the husky. Chukchi dogs are an important part of the tribe. The wealth and status of the Chukchi people, also measured by the number and quality of their dogs. And this has been going on for thousands of years, until the expansion of Tsarist Russia in the 1819th century. A group of Russian soldiers engaged in the fur trade invaded Chukchi territory. In the conflict between the two parties, Chukchi dogs sledding far faster than the reindeer sleigh of the Tsarist soldiers. After a long period of resistance, Chukchi defeated. The Russian soldiers occupied their territory. Their Chukchi was also discovered by the outside world. In 1908, a fur trader came to Alaska with a pack of Chukchi to distinguish it from the local Inuit sled dogs. This dog is called the Siberian Malamute. The name is still in use today. During the Alaskan Gold Rush, dog sledding became an important means of transportation in the area. In 1909, the Siberian Malamute. The first time I participated in Alaska, a bobsled race in the small town of Norman. The result is that their physical strength, endurance, speed, far more than the local large cargo sled dogs. In the 1910 competition, a sled rider known as Iron Man Johnson, with his Siberian sled dog, and they won the championship. Since then, Husky dominated almost all the prizes in the Norman competition. It has attracted attention. The event that really made the Huskies famous, it happened in 1925. Husky also accomplished a feat that will go down in history. 1925. Diphtheria is endemic in the small town of Norman, Alaska. Serum used to treat diphtheria. Due to winter traffic restrictions, the serum was transported to a distance of 1,125 kilometers from the town, no longer able to move forward. To retrieve the serum quickly, the local government decided to use dog sleds to transport, and the Husky sled team that accepted the mission. They used a relay system. 20 bobsledders, 150 Huskies, day and night. The original 25-day journey was completed in only 5.5 days, successfully saved the lives of many children in the small town. During shipping, the most dangerous road section, by a sledder named Spira, and his 12-year-old lead dog, Togo, is in charge. They were in the freezing cold of -50 degrees, and in the cold wind above level 7. And it's been done almost without interruption, an incredible 425 kilometers. To save time, they ventured across the frozen waters of Norton Bay, and the ice is still breaking. They were also trapped on the ice floe for hours. 12-year-old Togo jumps into icy waters, tighten the reins, and rescue the entire sled team. Togo was hurt. He never pulled up the sled again. This story was also made into a movie Togo. Detailed account of this legendary story. This incident. It also spread the Huskies' fame throughout the United States. Togo died in 1929, 16 years old. 1930. The Siberian Malamute is recognized by the American Kennel Association. Also that year, the Soviet government banned the export of Siberian sled dogs. In 1938, the American Husky Club was established. Husky began to be truly recognized and accepted by the world. There are 3 types of Siberian Malamute dogs: work type, competition type, and display type. There are very few working Huskies. They have incredible stamina, very fast when transporting small items over long distances. But with the development of modern transportation, Huskies have no place. Competition Husky, mainly used to participate in today's sled races. They interbreed with other dog breeds, while giving it the characteristics of a sled dog. Also has a faster and stronger physique. Display Husky. It's what we usually call a racing dog. In the show dog, it is also divided into 2 types, the United States and Europe. American Huskies are heavier and thicker. European breeds are lighter and more elegant. Display Husky compared to the other 2 types. The mouth is shorter and prettier. But it also compared him to the original sled dog. It is not suitable for breathing in cold environments. And Huskies raised as pets, although most of them are displayed so he was called the Master of Demolition. Such a title is good. Alaskan Malamute, the largest variety of sled trifles. Same as Husky. It is also an ancient dog breed. Inuit people of Arctic origin. A tribe called Malamat. So, they are also known as Alaskan Malamat Retrievers. This tribe lives on the northwest coast of Alaska. The turbulent Bering Strait separates Siberia. The ancestors of the Inuit during the Ice Age, on the frozen Bering Land Bridge from Asia to North America, during long-term safari migrations, and after the war with the Southern Indians, and eventually settled on the cold Arctic coastline. They hunt seals. Walrus polar bear. Cetaceans live on large animals such as caribou and seabirds. Their dog is like a husky, hybrid with Arctic wolves, living an almost semi-wild life in a wild ice field. Alaskan dog and husky. Arctic dog breeds such as Samoyed. They are related by blood. They ray bigger and stronger. It was used by the Inuit to hunt, track, and large hunting dogs and sled dogs for consignment of game. It was also an important means of transportation for the Inuit. June 1741. Russian explorer Vitus Jonasson Bering led a second voyage along the Aleutian Islands, exploring the New World. Discovered this vast land in Alaska. This continent also belongs to Russia. Then came Russian sailors, fishermen, and hunters. Discovered this large sled dog of the Malamat. This is an Alaskan Malamute, the first time it was discovered by the outside world. In 1867, Russia sold this land to the United States. In 1880, gold was discovered in Alaska. Then the Alaskan gold rush was ignited. So many miners came. Cities and towns sprang up overnight. Alaska's unique climate, the huge demand for sled dogs. The dog traders flocked there. So all kinds of long-haired and hardy large dogs also trafficked to Alaska. In Jack London's novel, The Call of the Wild, there is also a detailed description of this history. Among the gold diggers, all kinds of poisoned dog activities have also begun to prevail. The original Alaskan Malamute at this time, there was chaos. People began to breed them with exotic dogs. The breeding of Arctic sled dogs began to decline. In 1912, the United States established the Alaska Territory and start perfecting the law. The chaos in Alaska has begun to subside. In 1925, due to the creation of Husky, the sensational delivery of serum across the United States, rescue incident, dog sledding is back in vogue in the United States. The original and pure Alaskan Malamute re-entered people's sight and began to be valued and systematically bred. 1935. The Alaskan Malamute is recognized by the American Kennel Association, registered and officially registered as an independent dog breed. Compared to Huskies, Alaska is wilder. It's bigger. It's bigger. It's not as fast as a Husky, but it's much more powerful. Alaska. It is a kind of ice field in the wild. Primitive dog breeding. In their genetic memory, it is somewhat predatory, so they treat other animals and their own kind. It can also be aggressive. In the movie Antarctic Adventure, there is Alaska, the scene of hunting birds. They were shown in the ice field. Super survivability. Alaskan eyes are brown or darker in color. Hair is also divided into two lines, long hair and short hair. Short hair for standard Alaskan. Long hair is the result of a recessive genetic mutation. It doesn't affect health, but overgrown hair is even less suitable for the cold Arctic climate. Sled dogs are social animals. In their society, there is only conquest and constant provocation. So this is also the stubbornness of most sled dogs, the reason for disobedience. Keep a sled dog. It also greatly challenges the patience of the shit-shoveling officer. All right. He is known as the Smiling Angel. This is what he looked like in the beginning. This is the Arctic wolf. He turned out to be the dog closest to a wolf genetically. There is even a saying. He is the descendant of the first domesticated Arctic wolf. More than 100 years ago, polar explorers recorded their murderous and bloodthirsty side. Today, we are going to talk about the evolutionary history of the Samoyed. Samoyed, named after the Samoyeds who tamed them. They live in the cold northwest of Siberia, the Arctic coast of the White Sea. It's covered in ice for more than 2/3 of the year. The short summers are also wet and cold. The Samoyeds have lived here for thousands of years. The Samoyed mainly domesticated reindeer. They're second only to reindeer in importance to dogs. Samoyed, and they're helping them herd their reindeer on this permafrost. Hunting guard home. The Samoyed use scraps of reindeer meat. The bones feed them. They live in tents with their owners. It is also a natural heating artifact. This interdependent environment. It also allows them to develop close relationships with humans. The Samoyed is not a pure sled dog. It originally helped humans hunt and defend their homes. With the domestication of reindeer by the Samoyed, its role has also become herding reindeers and guarding wolves. A guard dog that repels bears. There is an account of the life of the Samoyed. When the reindeer ate the moss near the camp, will go further and further. Vulnerable to wolves. The dog will notice and chase around, drive them back. They drive away reindeers like shepherds drive away a flock of sheep. Reindeers also have no fear of dogs. Before the 16th century, very few people know about this dog. Until the expansion of Tsarist Russia, the whole of Siberia is included in the Russian territory. Subsequent exploration of the Arctic shipping lanes. The boom in polar exploration began. Some explorers began to go deeper into the North Pole. They first took advantage of this dog. Samoyed also began to be known to the outside world as a sled dog. In 1895, a Norwegian explorer, Fridtjof Nansen, he took 28 sled dogs into the North Pole in search of the pole. It ended in failure. None of the 28 sled dogs survived, but the way he pulls a sled with a Samoyed, imitated by later expeditions. Samoyed dogs also became standard on later expeditions. This is how the explorers described the dogs. They look more like wolves. Colors range from gray to dark brown. Some dogs are all white, tail curled on back, and with thick fur and pointed ears. They are friendly to humans, but among the same kind, there is a very general tendency to kill each other. British explorer Jackson picked out some pure white puppies to bring back and showed it to Queen Alexandra, the later Queen of England. This dog breed is also loved by the royal family. Then this dog was developed in England. The original Samoyed was not all white. It's a mix of black, brown, and other coats. The direction of British cultivation is to remove other colors. Only white and light brown are left. The true foundation of the modern Samoyed is known as the father of Samoyed, Gilbert Scott. He started a showcase competition for Samoyed dogs, also prompts Samoyed in 1906, recognized by the American Kennel Association, register as a recognized dog breed, early 20th century, with a new wave of polar exploration, various adventure stories, as newspapers, novels, and other publications spread. More and more readers. I also became obsessed with this kind of expedition team. Big white sled dog. So more and more Samoyed dogs were bred for export. But with the outbreak of World War I and World War II, the expedition came to an abrupt end. Sled dogs are also starting to decline. After the war, Britain's influence is gradually diminishing. The United States and the Soviet Union became the leading players in polar exploration. They prefer to use Alaskan and Husky, compared to Samoyed. Huskies and Alaskans as pure sled dogs, faster and stronger. Samoyed dogs in the UK. It has also turned to the direction of showing dogs to cultivate and develop. Their looks are getting more and more delicate. The wildness fades away. Friendly and warm. The everlasting smile became the hallmark of Samoyed. White back hair. It also earned him the nickname of the Smiling Angel. Golden Retriever, full name Golden Retriever. This is a hunting dog that was born in Scotland. So what is a hound? What is recovery? What is it about? Don't go away. This video will explain to you. Traces the birth of many modern dog breeds. I can't seem to get around England, and the Golden Retriever is no exception. Hunting has a long history in the UK as entertainment for the royal family and the aristocracy. It's been around for hundreds of years. Therefore, it also gave rise to a wide variety of hunting dogs with different uses. In 1066, William, Duke of Normandy of France, led the invasion of England, occupy London in October of the same year. After being crowned King William I of England, the Norman dynasty was also established. The Norman hunting tradition was also brought to England. Early Norman dynasty. Hunting deer and wild boar. It's a special project for royalty and guests, but with the division of the land, the establishment of the feudal system, this privilege, it was also gradually granted to nobles and feudal lords. Hunting culture. So it became very popular in England. In the early days of hunting, it was mainly hunting elk and wild boar. The earliest hunting methods were riding and shooting, and supplemented by various types of hunting dogs. Bigger prey. It also gave birth to large bulldogs used for tracking and fighting. The deerhound was born in this context. Bloodhound. It was also brought into England during this period. Guards of hunting grounds and manors. The English Mastiff also developed in this context. And by the 16th century, with the development of agriculture and animal husbandry, forests are dwindling. Deer and wild boars are also gradually decreasing. Foxes and hares pose a growing threat to farms. Some farmers began to use hunting dogs to kill foxes. Hare. The pleasure of chasing makes it an ideal prey. 17th century Stuart dynasty. With the outbreak of the bourgeois revolution, the rise of the new bourgeoisie aristocracy, rapid economic development. The hunting wind is also more respected. People began to domesticate foxhounds and horses in large numbers. Fox hunting. It has also become a new way of leisure for the upper classes. A cunning fox. It requires the cooperation of hunters and hounds. Find the fox cave and drive it out, and then hunted by hounds following the scent. Hunters followed on horses. In this context, they gave birth to the pointer, the foxhound, the beagle, and all kinds of farming dogs. At the same time, greyhounds, used for rabbit hunting, are also gaining popularity in the UK. In the 1819th century, after the Industrial Revolution, with the development and improvement of shotguns, shooting birds has become more popular. Juvenile chickens and various waterfowl species become one of Britain's iconic prey. Hunters. At this time, a shuttle through the bushes and shallows is required. Dogs used to retrieve hit prey. In this context, round eaters, water hounds begin to appear. Also during this period, St. John's Water Spaniel, the ancestor of Labrador, was introduced to England. Our next protagonist, the Golden Retriever, was born during this period in Scotland. Hunting culture is both an aristocratic culture in England. It is also a British tradition that has been passed down to this day, and entertainment. It not only affected the development of dogs, it also gave birth to equestrian flying saucer shootings, archery, and other Olympic sports. At the same time, it leads the fashion frontier. All kinds of hunting gear, inherited the simplicity of the British countryside, also formed a unique British style. Speaking of the birth of the Golden Retriever, seems very prosaic. The story takes place in 1865, Brighton, a city in southern England. Marjorie Banks is walking down the street. A small dog sits on the floor made by a shoemaker, and I looked up at him. This is a puppy with golden fur. There was wisdom in his eyes. Mr. Marjorie Banks seems to see something in the puppy. So I bought it for a gold coin and named it Nis. Finally brought it to Scotland. Marjorie Banks. He later became Lord Twidmoss. He owns a large hunting dog farm in Scotland and domesticated many hounds. Rose's parents are two black roving dogs, and he is yellow. In the era of black dogs, Ross was lucky to be saved. Flat hair retriever for St. John's Water Retrievers and Citadels, or an Irish Water Spaniel cross. But this flat-haired retriever, not now, often mistaken for a black golden retriever. It was an earlier curvy retriever. In 1868, Marjorie Banks used news, breeding with a Tweed Water Spaniel, got a few yellow puppies. These puppies were the original golden retrievers. These golden puppies were first bred, did not spread widely. It only spreads between families. Marjorie Banks' son got one of them, and he also owns a crimson Irish setter. This also explains why. Now you can see some crimson golden retrievers. In the years up to 1871, and this started producing more. To optimize dog breeds, Lord Marjorie Banks left only yellow puppies and excellent quality black puppies. And by constantly working with the Tweed Water Hound, crossing with the flat-haired tourist dog, to increase its mobility in the water and the characteristics of the hound, then this kind of activity can both occur on land. A shy and roving dog that can also hunt waterfowl in the water, gradually in various hunting grounds, and rose to prominence in aristocratic hunting. In the British Isles in the 1819th century, hunting birds was popular among the court nobles. But these nobles, while enjoying shooting birds, but unwilling to go into the mud and thorns to retrieve the prey, and it was used to find itinerant dogs of downed birds, be nurtured, and become the exclusive hound of the nobles. In 1890, Marjorie Banks died. His estate and kennel have also changed hands many times, but the golden retriever was preserved and gradually spread. In 1906, several golden retrievers' first appearance at a dog show in the UK. It is classified as group of curly or flat-haired touring hounds of other colors. In 1911, it was officially recognized as a species. It is described as a golden or yellow itinerant dog. In 1920, it was officially renamed the Golden Retriever. Subsequently, Golden Retrievers were brought to Canada and the United States for hunting. 1920 and 1925, the United States and Canada have successively recognized the dog breed. In 1974, the Golden Retriever became the dog of U.S. President Gerald Ford, and these are the dogs that are beginning to enter the public consciousness. It's starting to spread. In 1997, with the release of the movie Buddy the Dog, a golden retriever named Buddy quickly went red. It's football, basketball, volleyball, baseball, housekeeping, and baby care are proficient in everything. Since then, 14 films in the series have been released. For a while, the golden retriever went global, the ideal dog for other significant families. So that's the story of the golden retriever. It is born of the cultivation of a family, and it ended up in thousands of homes. If you like this video, welcome to like and follow. You can also leave a message about the dog breed you are interested in the comment area. Thanks for watching. There are two kinds of Corgi, Pembroke Welsh Corgi and the Cardigan Welsh Corgi. Although they are both called Corgi, but they are two relatively independent dog breeds. But they also have one thing in common: short legs. Although the Corgi was born in Wales, but look back at its history. Their ancestors followed in the footsteps of human civilization from Europe. In ancient European history, Celtic, it is a shared language and cultural tradition. Condensed loose group. They originated from the Seine in France, Upper Rhine region of the Danube in Germany. In a long historical period, they used to run amok in Europe and occupy the British Isles, conquered by the Romans. It also formed many kingdoms and tribes. This includes Wales, and followed the Celts from Europe, a dog that shares a common ancestor with the German Dachshund, the very first Corgi. Ancestors of the Cardigan Welsh Corgi. The Celtic economy, mainly agriculture and animal husbandry. In Cardigan, Wales, near a village called Brownant, it has big hills. It is also the pasture of the Welsh people who live here, although the surrounding herders equal rights to grazing on public lands. But herders, or habitually circled their respective territories. So the Corgis responsible for driving away the invaders became a necessity for herders. Own an excellent Corgi. It's like owning a pasture. So the Corgi became an important asset. They were bred for protection. This original Corgi, also known as Browning Corgi, after 1875, with the reform of the British land system, abolished the factory landing system. The movement of establishing land enclosures for private farms has developed rapidly. Large tracts of land near Brownham, it was sold to farmers. The appearance of wire fences makes Corgis almost disappear. Corgi's job is to herd cattle. Unlike most shepherds, the corgi don't drive the cattle home. Instead, drive the invading herd farther away. The advent of the fence privatized the land. Different pastures are separated. The corgi have lost their usefulness. Instead of, it's a sheepdog that can drive a herd home. So the Australian cattle dog. The zebra cattle dog is also gradually replacing the corgi. The striped cattle dog shares the same personality as the corgi, relatively friendly. But it was not widely adopted, only used in southern Carlingen. However, due to its unstable operating characteristics, also lacks the energy to graze. So people moved back to cattle dogs and corgis. These hybrids, and a few of the original corgis were left behind, became the cardigan of today, the ancestors of the Welsh corgi. In 1929, after the death of the last pure-blooded Browning corgi, the original Brownian corgi has disappeared. Later cardigan Welsh corgi, all are mixed races. Pembroke Welsh corgi, although similar in appearance to the cardigan Welsh corgi, but they were born in different regions. Two dogs breeds that developed relatively independently. Medieval England was famous for its wool production, particularly in Wales. After the Norman conquest, rapid urbanization in the UK. During the 11th century, several textile centers were formed. However, due to the limitations of the degree of development of the handicraft industry, most of the wool still exported to the Flanders region of mainland Europe. Due to Flanders and Italian textiles, monopoly of the British market, Britain began to bring in quality artisans to raise the level of the country's handicraft industry. So a large number of Flemish weavers started entering England and Wales. Certainly, they also brought in the video rights from Europe. While these weavers worked long hours, also constantly reclaiming the emperor, their dog, also interbred with the original Brownian corgi, formed today's Pembroke Welsh corgi and used it for grazing in the Pembroke area. Wales before the 19th century, Cardigan and Pembroke. Because of the mountains, it's hard to get around. These two breeds of corgi have long been developed independently, also formed to varieties with different bloodlines. But by the end of the 19th century, with the development of transportation, the two places are also beginning to intertwine. So there are two types of corgis. At this stage, there was a chaotic interbreeding. There are also herders and breeders. They worked hard to keep their bloodline pure. 1925, Pembroke Welsh Corgi Club established. 1 year later, in 1926, the Cardigan Welsh Corgi Club was established. Although the two corgis are separate breeds, but at first, the Kennel Club did not recognize the two breeds. Also allows hybridization of two corgis. Until 1934, the Kennel Association just registered the two corgis separately after Pembroke Welsh Corgi, chosen as a royal pet by the British royal family. It has also brought great fame to this breed. The following questions about corgi. There are several theories about the origin of the name corgi. One theory holds that the word corgi comes from the Celtic cancho. It means wolf or dog. The second theory is that it originated from the Welsh word corgi. Color. It means short. She means dog. And as language changes, she became bee, hence the name corgi. The third theory holds that the name corgi is given by cur dog or cur, derived from. Cur refers to a type of working dog. In a Welsh law codified in 920 AD, the records recognize three different watching dogs and significant other dogs. In 16th century documents, you can also find the word cocky, used to refer to a dog of the breed corgi. Pembroke Welsh corgis are usually two-tone. According to the depth, it is divided into red and white, yellow and white, brown and white, black and white, and engraved colors. The dominant color of the Cardigan Welsh Corgi is black meteorite color. tabby tricolor, and engraving. Also cardigan Welsh Corgi. Any color can appear, with or without white, and cardigan will also appear red. There will be red and white or tricolor like Pembroke. But the vast majority of the dominant colors are black. In addition, Pembroke has longer hair, Cardigan has shorter hair, and the hair is hard. Cardigan has more bone mass, longer body. Its body ratio is 1.8 to 1. More lowly. You look fatter. Bloomberg Rock in front of Cardigan. The body shape will appear shorter and thicker. In addition, due to the fact that Bloomberg Rock has fox dog bloodlines, the face is more delicate, and Cardigan looks even more simple and honest. Bloomberg Rock needs tail docking. Cardigan doesn't need eggs. That is, it is usually said that the one with the tail is the Cardigan. The one without the tail is the fluffy rock. Why did Pembroke have his tail docked? There are mainly the following for claims. The first theory is climate. Pembroke for the rainy mountains. The working environment of Corgis is relatively muddy. If the tail is too long, it will be covered with a lot of silt. It is easy to breed germs and cause unfinished tails. The Cardigan region is relatively dry. You don't have to worry about that. The second argument is the problem of cattle ranching. Pembroke was herding cattle. A tail that is too long can be easily stepped on by a cow and cause damage. Cardigan's movements are relatively dexterous. Don't worry about being stepped on, but it's not very convincing. Because from bone mass to body structure, Cardigan on motor flexibility, no better than Pembroke. The third theory is that the early pastoralists, in order to maintain the purity of the bloodline of the two dog breeds, it is easier to distinguish between the two types of dogs. Choose to make the bones thicker. The larger Cardigan never ends. And for the more compact Pembroke, progressive ranking. Therefore, two dog breeds were formed. Intuitive differences in appearance established the original canine breeding standard style, so you can tell them apart at a glance. The fourth theory is similar to the third, today's dog race. Due to the tendency of different aesthetic standards, it is also easier to distinguish between dog breeds, so as to tail Pembroke. This statement, just a matter of the early and present timelines. And the third kind of distinction applies to pastures. The fourth distinction applies to today's game. Combine the above for statements. The third and fourth types seems more in line with the reasons for the modern Pembroke docking. The story of Labrador and Newfoundland. The birth of a dog may have been a human accident, but it is also the inevitable result of the long river of history. When Columbus discovered the New World, after sending it back to Europe, countries are ready to move. 1497. Italian navigator John funded by England, Cabot rediscovered Newfoundland. This is also after Viking. Europeans once again came to North America. Cabot made the same trip as his fellow Columbus. No spices or gold were found, but found another treasure. Countless cods. After Cabot, hundreds of ships England, France, Portuguese and Spanish fishing boats arrived. French fishermen were among the first to arrive. These fishermen, temporary bases were established on the island of Newfoundland. They brought their helpers, helped them take care of the base. A big dog pulling a fishing net. There are many different types of dogs. Some people think it's a great white bear dog brought by Basque fishermen, or a Pyrenees Mastiff. Others think it's a French Hubert hound. These big dogs brought by fishermen. It was originally used to haul fishing nets and boats, also used for coastal rescue. They weigh huge. Able-bodied. During the hundreds of years from 1497 to 1603, these dogs breed in Newfoundland. A mix of local Beothuk dog breeds. and the genes of the Eskimo sled dog developed into the current Newfoundland dog. This big dog with a gentle, strong, and loyal personality. 1603. A Frenchman named Saint-Prin arrived in North America. He went up the St. Lawrence River. Another animal was discovered, the beaver. Therefore, it also triggered a bloody trade that lasted for hundreds of years. Before that, interests of Europeans. It's just the countless cods in the waters of Newfoundland, and with the rise of France. Europeans' love for fur. The beaver is a small animal that made it onto the stage of history. Countless hunter fur traders, and their various hounds kept coming. In the movie Revere Hunter, mainly hunted is this animal. These hounds follow in the footsteps of their hunters, widely distributed in various colonies of North America. In long encounters with beavers and various prey, they have also developed their vigorous posture and flexible water. Some hunting dogs are. This dog is mainly found in Newfoundland and the coastal areas of Labrador. This is the ancestor of the Labrador Retriever, St. John's Water Spaniel. Early St. John's had smaller ears, white hair on the chest and legs. From the appearance, it seems to be closer to the border herd. After 1800, ships departing from Labrador and began bringing these dogs to England. It was also in England. It's the Labrador that really develops. The name Labrador Retriever, earliest. It was proposed by the Earl of Musbury in England. In a letter dated 1887, he wrote, "The first use of the term Labrador Retriever. Labrador Retrievers thrive in England. Second Earl of Musbury, in the history of Labrador dog breeding, played an important role. The first St. John's Water Spaniels to land in England. Most of it is imported by it. And he was the one who built the first Labrador kennel, after coming to England. British, for Labrador's excellent hunting and swimming skills, impressed. And it became increasingly popular in hunting and shooting competitions. Gentlemen and nobles, also gradually using Labrador Retrievers, replaced some other dog breeds. And in Newfoundland, the birthplace of Labrador, this dog, but because of the political factors of the development of local animal husbandry, limited number of farms, more stringent dog tax policies followed, caused the Labrador Retriever, almost extinct in Newfoundland. Early 19th century, England to prevent rabies from entering the country. Many import restrictions have been introduced. This has also led to Labrador Retrievers in England almost disappeared. Labrador Retriever of pure St. John's bloodline. Very, very few. Labrador Retriever, first recognized by the British Kennel Club in 1903, recognized the separate breeds of Labrador. In 1933, the 6th Earl of Musbury introduced a few more St. Johns, so the lineage of the kennel is guaranteed. Although Labrador is in the UK, Newfoundland has hit a roadblock. However, in the United States on the other side of the ocean, gradually spread out. Labrador Retrievers were introduced to the United States. It was recognized by the American Kennel Club in 1917. After the First World War, more Labradors were introduced, eventually formed the current American variety. 1938. A black Labrador named Aiden Blind received the highest honor for the American Hound. She was on the cover of Life magazine. In 1959, another black Labrador, King Barker, was put on a U.S. postage stamp. Then Labrador became President Clinton of the United States and Russian President Vladimir Putin's dog. Labrador has 2 factions, 4 colors, and 6 types. What kind of dog does your dog owner belong to? Hey, don't go away. Welcome to the right seat. Labrador Retriever was introduced into England after 1800. They began to breed properly. In 1807, a Brit named the Canton carried a shipment of St. John's dogs to England. However, unfortunately, the ship ran aground off the coast of Maryland. Only 2 puppies were found, one of the black ones, a chocolate color. From this record, it can also be concluded that early St. John's black and chocolate already exist. Early St. John's dogs were mainly black. Chocolate and yellow are also paint colors, but because chocolate and yellow are recessive genes, it's not genetically stable as black. So early Labradors. Black is the dominant dog breed. Black Labrador also has better athletic ability and water quality. In the early days of dog racing, the referee also prefers black. In the early days of nurturing Labrador, yellow and chocolate are also artificially eliminated. Since records began, the first yellow Labrador was born in 1899. Then yellow and chocolate gradually emerge in some competitions. Racing dogs are no longer black. Labrador stands alone. After the First World War, people's aesthetics and acceptance have changed. Yet Labrador has undergone nearly 100 years of development, also formed black. Chocolate yellow beige for color lines. But due to the beige, it is seen as a dilution based on the yellow system. It is not yet recognized by the American Kennel Association criteria for inclusion of racing dogs compared to other colors. Yellow Labrador is nurtured to be more docile. They are also used as significant other dogs and guide dogs. And the Black Labrador is, relatively speaking, it has a higher proportion of drug detection dogs and explosive detection dogs. In the historical breeding process of Labrador, different breeding standards also appeared in 6 different forms before World War II. Labrador ancestry is extremely confused. Breeding, and pedigree records also severely affected by World War II. 6 forms were described in 1915 based on a Black Labrador and proposed Brittany type. This type is known as the English Labrador. Accepted standard type. He has a robust building and is streamlined. This name, it originated in France, which was called Little Britain, Brittany Peninsula, although this region belongs to France. But it's really British. So this type of Labrador, a more intuitive translation would be called Britannia. The characteristics of this type of puffer fish, slightly shorter than the Brittany type, but the breasts are larger. Looks a little more delicate, slightly shorter. Donovan is a type that is slightly smaller than the blowfish, but it's more athletic, usually served as a hunting dog. This type is larger. In particular, the performance of the head and chest is more obvious. It is also commonly used in hunting and racing. Whitemore is smaller than other body types, but great athletic performance. The face is also slender, especially bitches. This type is the standard American type. They rate the pufferfish and the Brittany, slightly longer and thinner, more athletic ability. Of the 6 forms of Labrador, Brittany pufferfish Whitemore spread, more active in the exhibition, Donovan and mates, then more appear in the competition. Border herding was born in northern England. It's not an ancient species. It has been cultivated until now. That's a little over 100 years. But if you trace the history of this breed, you can start even earlier with the Roman Empire. After 2 failures, at 43, the Roman Emperor Claudius's army conquered England, brought to the British Isles together, and followed the Roman army, a sheepdog that came with a livestock dealer. This is a large shepherd dog. For more than 400 years, the Roman Empire ruled Britain. They get used to it, the topography and climate of the British Isles. After the fall of the Roman Empire, late 8th century AD, under the protection of the Danes, Vikings invade England again. and occupied a large amount of land in the northeast of England, established the Danish district. Again, they also brought their own shepherds to the island. It's a kind of small size and agility, a dog that runs fast, known as the Lion Pitzer. Originating in the Scandinavian peninsula, is to adapt to extreme cold weather. The breed of dog that was bred, its family is also very large. For example, the famous Three Fools of Sledding, and an Eskimo, an Icelandic Shepherd. These dog breeds, long striped shoulder curled tail, Spitz, crossed with collies brought by the early Romans, breeds into a medium size, a quick-acting and responsive sheep dog. This dog is almost perfectly adapted the terrain and climate of northern England and grazing. Locals call this dog collie. This is the earliest prototype of the border collie. Although the Romans and Vikings failed to capture England, but the dogs they brought with them stayed. And over time, Corrie is a dog. It gradually incorporated the genes of the setter. The Shetty is an energetic dog and a very elegant hound, once loved by royalty and nobility. However, the specific characteristics of these dog breeds. It can also be used in modern border herders. Find the shadow of its genes. CLY is transliterated as a collie dog. There are many theories about the origin of the word curly. Some believe the word originated from Old English. It refers to the black dog because the color of the pellet dog at that time was mainly black, hence the name. Some people think the pellets originated from the Gaelic language of Scotland. It means useful dogs, also refers to dogs. The current popular belief holds that the word coal, the original reference was to the black-faced sheep endemic to Scotland, because guarding this flock. So become a collie, although a shepherd. Border Collie Shepherd. Breeds such as English Shepherds and Australian Shepherds. They share a common ancestor, but now the word clee, mainly used to refer to the breed of Scottish Shepherd, modern Scottish Shepherd. It was the Victorian era, because of the love of the royal family. Put the original pellet dog, mixed in with the lineage of soup and long-haired spirit hooves. The cultivated body is more slender. Breeds that also run faster and have gorgeous coats. And modern border collies. Originating in England, Northumberland on the border with Scotland is a very regional dog breed. It wasn't very widespread. This state did not gradually change until the 18th century. Early collie. Most people are not friendly. It's rough and uncontrollable with sheep. Until September 1893, a collie named Lau Ma, born in Northumberland in the north of England. It is the ancestor of the modern border collie. Lau Ma's father. It's a friendly black-brown collie. His mother has a fierce look, work-focused black pellet dog. And mom perfectly inherited the advantages of paternal and maternal lines. It's quiet. It doesn't like to bark. It's agile, very good at using your own eyes and body orientation to drive the flock. It's a series of behaviors. It also became later the iconic movement of this breed of Beyond Moo. The name Border Collie. It was named in 1915. In 1915, the British Shepherd Dog Association, when presenting the Championship Dog of the Year, to bring this pellet dog from Northumberland, distinguished from pellet dogs in other regions. They named it the Border Collie. Since then, Border Shepherd has also become a recognized, independent breeds. And before that, whether it's a sheepdog skills competition or a dog show, he's actually always been called a Scottish Shepherd due to the excellent characteristics of border herds. This variety is also widely promoted in the UK. And as the British Empire expanded, Beyond Moo also followed in his footsteps. In countries with developed animal husbandry, such as the United States and Australia, received extensive promotions, and different assessments and standards have been formed. September 2015. Woodburn in western Northumberland. That's where the Border Collie came from. A memorial program in memory of Adam Telford and his Border Collie. Telford is my mother's master. His family is responsible for the birth of this breed. Made a very big contribution. That's him too. Bred the world's first Border Collie dog. Therefore, he is also regarded as the father of the modern Border Collie. This is the history and origin of border herding. If you like videos like this, I will continue to try to pick up the side grazing and other dog breeds, more novels and interesting knowledge and history. If the content is not rigorous, you are also welcome to leave a correction in the comment area. Thank you for your attention, likes, and favorites. Prototype of Border Shepherd. It was made by an ancient Roman sheepdog, mixed with Viking Spitz, formed the original pellet dog. This pellet dog, later, it was mixed with the genes of the setter. The shelter is a spaniel. His ancestors. It is a Binda hound introduced to England from Spain. The fusion of the above canine genes after artificial cultivation and formed today's Border Collie. Now let's revisit these dogs. The specific appearance of the ancient Roman shepherd dog has not been verified, but passed down from the same period, and has a certain blood connection with the Castro dog. To infer, a Roman shepherd should be a tall dog. Large dogs with black or yellow short coat. The skin-eating female is a slightly smaller double-haired back. A long-haired dog with black, white, or yellow fur. These two dogs gave birth to the original pellet dog. It is also black and white or black, white and brown. The world's first Border Collie, Mom. Also a tricolor edged herd. The fur color of the setter is black or reddish-brown. And those who live in overlapping environments with collies. Irish red and white setters. Mainly white and red. And they have spots. So the original collie. The body has genes for 3 colors, black, white, and red. After the genome of the setter is added, it's frontier herding. Brings long hairs and spots with limb modifications. This kind of spot that is prone to appear on the border grazing. It's called the Irish spot. This is also a representative of the classic side herd. And infer from this, the appearance of meteorite-colored border herds. Genetically influenced by the setter. There are 4 main genes that affect the color of border grazing, and each gene has 2 properties, dominant and recessive. The first gene is the solid color gene. White is the base color of border grazing. So, the base color of the lip color that affects the coating color is black and red. All other colors, both are diluted in these 2 colors, or evolved from. Black is the dominant gene. Red is a recessive gene. The second type of gene is a dilution gene. Dilution genes dilute black to blue or gray, dilute the brown to clove. And the third is meteorite genes. When the meteor dominant gene comes into play, meteorite colors will appear. Meteorites are a mixed color. The color itself hasn't changed. It just changes the color distribution. The fourth gene is the yellow gene. The yellow gene is a masking gene. When you have a yellow gene, you get tricolor. So the yellow gene is also called the trichromatic gene. From this, it can be deduced that there are 81 theoretical gene combinations in border herding. The theoretical coding color combination can appear 16 kinds. For example, our common black and white border grazing. The coding color combination shows that the solid color gene is dominant. Rare genes are recessive. The mixed color gene is recessive, and the trichromatic gene is recessive. And there are up to 8 possible genetic combinations of brown and white wood. The coding color combination is solid color, and the gene is recessive. Dilute genes to recessive. The color mixing gene is recessive, and the color enhancement gene is recessive. There are 4 possible genetic combinations, and the coat color combination of a blue and white-sided shepherd is. The solid color gene is dominant. Dilution gene is dominant, color mixing gene is recessive. The chromogenic gene is dominant. There are two possible combinations of genes. In reality, a pure black and white border herd, and its solid color gene is only black gene. It doesn't matter what color it mates with, can only produce black and white. But what color does it breed with? Which color genes will their offspring carry? Two black and white, but border grazing with the red gene, its descendants. Then there may be black and white and brown and white colors. And among these black and white puppies, some have red genes, some don't. Plus diluted genes, involvement of trichromatic genes. In the same litter of puppies, it is normal for border grazing to appear in different shades. Anyway, we can't judge by the appearance. Does a border herd carry a certain gene? And the properties of its genes? It is impossible to trace the inheritance of its bloodline. Black and white may not necessarily give birth to all black and white. If you use one word to describe two-sided herds, what kind of puppy will be born? That is to open the blind box. What else? Breeding is not recommended between meteorite side grazing and meteorite side grazing because of the meteorite color. It's the dilution gene and the color mixing gene, product of double action, genetic instability. The offsprings are more susceptible to dilution, appearance of albino eye diseases, etc. But meteorite colors can be reproduced with black and white, brown and white. In addition, meteorite-colored border grazing allows blue eyes to appear. But if other colors appear blue eyes, reproduction is not recommended because blue eyes are on other colors. It's a developmental defect, prone to eye diseases. Of course, about the color and reproduction of border grazing, it's not unexpected. And here's a table of how they breed. If you are interested, you can take a look. Be on Moo. It's a dog bred purely as a shepherd. His most proud housekeeping skills, eye control. It is analyzed that this ability is inherited from the Zoo dog and bow hounds. These hounds often need to lurk in the bushes, quietly approaching, drive away ambushed birds. The order not only inherits the ability of its eyes, you inherit stealth range control. In the British Isles, the birthplace of the Border Collie, the lowland plains of southern England, and the mountainous highlands of Scotland in the north, herders have different breeds of sheep. Differences in environment. Different sizes of dogs are needed to work more effectively. For example, mountainous areas require faster speeds, a more flexible and lightweight body. The plains require a stronger body against larger sheep. Therefore, in the development of the work department, 4 types were born. Northern Brian Weston Gap, Dep Daherman Tommy. Trace all Border Collies. Its lineage is concentrated in a dog named Mom. This is the purest look of the early days, due to its origin in Northumberland. In appearance, the continuation of this type is called Nosian Brian, characterized by a medium-sized bow with long hair. The fur color is mostly black. Small white area. Weston Gap. This type of dog. It is the history of the development of border herding. A famous dog named Gap developed. It is also characterized by long hair. They tend to go big because of their size. Has a large and broad facial neck. More white hair on the chest and forelegs. The Nap type is among the 4 types of border grazing. The Nap is the only short-haired variety. Its name comes from a dog named Nape. This type is very strong, fast, and energetic. This type of side herd generally has long legs and a slightly shorter body length, so it looks a little boxy. The Daherman Tommy type is my mother's grandson, just named after Tommy's side shepherd. Tommy is medium in size, but bigger bone mass, on long black and white hair, often dotted with tan spots. This type of border herd has a better personality. He's also very strong and very smart. The above are the 4 types of working dogs in border herding. But actually, this is just one of those border collies. In terms of purpose, border herding is also divided into working dogs, display dogs, and competitive dogs. Before the introduction, let's find out first several authorities that certify border herds: British Sheepdog Association, British Kennel Association, American Border Shepherd Association, American Kennel Association, Australian Kennel Association, Canadian Border Shepherds Association. Different associations have different accreditation standards. Unlike show dogs, the standards of the Sheepdog Association are based on workability and the certification of the display dog. The Kennel Association pays more attention to body shape, appearance, bone mass, gross mass, etc. But excess bone mass, gross mass, and an increase in body size, it becomes a burden for working dogs. So this also forms. The Kennel Association is accredited by the Shepherd Dog Association. Project. The Kennel Association does not recognize the Kennel Association's certification. Our daily domesticated border herds. Requirements for the gross quantity of 7 white 3 lynx and 5 quantities, and various championship dog race level dog bloodlines, etc. All are standard for display dogs. This series of standards was initially developed by the Australian Kennel Association in 1940 and gradually formed today's standards. The American Kennel Association also basically adheres to this standard. Therefore, the border herds under this standard system, also known as the Aussie Show Dog. In recent years, with the development of various competitive competitions, like the Agility Flying Bull, a new category of competitive dogs has been extended. They are not suitable for display. It is also not suitable for participating in the selection of sheepdog skills. It was developed as a competitive sport, lighter and more flexible than the body, special body structure, often invincible in competitive games. Nothing like a job. The standard of a competitive dog doesn't care about appearance either, more concerned about athletic ability and body shape, no matter what type of border herding. Even more as a domestic display dog, its athletic ability is also relative to that of a working dog, weaker than competitive dogs. Beyond Moo is a dog that should have run in the vast grassland. City life naturally left him with nowhere to flex his muscles, exuberant physical fitness, and energy, transformed into a driving force for demolishing the house and competing wits with the owner. Of course, also too many shit-shoveling officers brings endless distress and happiness. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.